Hello everyone, today is 10th of December. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Friends, today into the GS folder, we will be taking a quote by Bangladeshi social economist Muhammad Yunus, who had also been given the Nobel Prize. Guys, Muhammad Yunus has described poverty. He says poverty is the absence of all human rights. The frustrations, hostility, and anger generated by abject poverty cannot sustain peace in any society. For building stable peace, we must find ways to provide opportunities for people to live decent lives. Now, guys, here we can see that poverty is not just an economical problem or a problem of the deprivation, rather, poverty is a bigger cause for not having the sustainable peace. So, therefore, now the peace and poverty are needed to be equated into the same way that the food availability and peace has been connected. Now, guys, this particular year you might be knowing that the World Food Program has been given the Nobel Peace Prize, and it has been be observed that as World Food Program had provided the food, in a way it had brought the peace. So food, poverty, peace, all are connected into a single integrated whole, and this particular realization needs to be raised at the global level. Now guys, this particular thing can be an entire folder for your GS paper number 2 into the questions related to the poverty, into GS paper number 3, in GS paper number 4, as well as into the essay. So guys, that's it. And now let's take the newspaper analysis. Now guys, first of all, let's see the newspaper articles that we will be taking up today. Guys, today we will be taking articles from the Hindu, Business Standard and the Mint newspaper. Now this first article has been taken from the Business Standard, and it is talking about the recent PM Vani scheme. Then guys, the similar article has been taken up into the Hindu also. Then guys, this particular article is from the Hindu, and it is talking about the recent lipid residue test that has been carried into the Indus Valley. Then guys, this article is from the Business Standard, and it is talking that how the myth of women's empowerment is coming into the work from home. So guys, we will be seeing a very good article for the women issues. Then guys, this article is from the Mint newspaper, and it is talking that how an inflection point has been reached into the organizational culture. A very good article for our GS paper number 4. Then guys, this article, it is talking that how a kind of the threat to Indian democracy is coming. So we will be seeing this article. Then guys, this article, it is talking about the problem of the hunger and malnutrition. Then guys, this article, it is talking about the recent decision of the France government to curb the radical Islamism. So guys, these are the important articles that we will be discussing up today, and now let's take them. Now guys, this particular news article has been taken from the Business Standard as well as the Hindu newspaper, and here we can see that the cabinet has approved the PM Vani, that is the Prime Minister Wi-Fi Access Network interface. Now guys, by this particular program, the government intends to provide the public Wi-Fi hotspots to the majority of people in India. Now guys, before going into this particular scheme, let's see some of the basic concepts which will be helping you into the answer writing. Now guys, into the developed economies, if we see, 50 to 70% of total internet usage happens via the Wi-Fi. However, in India, it is less than 10%. Now guys, after the geo phenomena, people had started to consume more of the internet, but that is majorly coming via the mobile data. However, the mobile data has a limited number of potentials because of the limited bandwidth that it can provide. And as today the internet has become an indispensable human right, the internet's sustainability as well as availability is paramount. Guys, into this particular direction, the TRAI, that is the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, in 2017 said that the public Wi-Fi hotspots are needed to be provided in India, and finally into this particular direction now work is going to be started. Now guys, let's analyze that what is this PM Wi-Fi access network interface or the PM Vani. So there will be the different levels onto which this particular scheme will be operated. At the most basic level, there will be the public data office. These public data office will be in charge of establishing a Wi-Fi connection. They will maintain it and will operate it. Now guys, these public data offices can be the kirana shops, can be the tea stalls, can be any such kind of establishments. They will just be acting like the PCOs or the cyber cafes. So after that guys, there will be the public data office aggregators, and they will be responsible for giving the authorization to these PDOs. After that, guys, there will be the app developers, and these app developers will be developing an interface by which the subscribers they can connect to the Wi-Fi hotspot. After that, guys, there will be a central registry. Now, this central registry will be keeping the record of all the PDOs, all the public data office aggregators, app developers, and this central registry will be into the C dot, that is Center for Development of Telematics. Now, guys, the idea is to create a UPI like movement for the internet also. Now, yesterday there was an article into the Mint newspaper where the Bill Gates had actually appreciated the India's UPI and had said that the seamlessness of the money transfer which has been achieved by the India's UPI, it is unparalleled. So, guys, as today the money transfer has become seamless, into the same lines the internet accessibility also needs to be made seamless via this public Wi-Fi hotspot scheme. Now, guys, the different service providers such as the BSNL, Geo, Airtel, they will be providing the internet connectivity via the optic fiber network to these PDOs, and these PDOs will be providing the accessibility to the subscribers living into the nearby regions. And by this particular way, the entire spate of e-governance facilities, the connecting of small people with the internet, connecting the vendors with the internet, and all such potentialities can be achieved into the near future. So, guys, it could be a very big revolution if it is carried properly with proper availability of three F's, that is the fund, the functions, and the functionaries. So, guys, this is all about this particular thing, and a very important topic for our GS paper number 2 as well as for the GS paper number 3. So, guys, that's it, and now let's take the next article. Now, guys, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper and it is very important for our GS paper number 1. Now, guys, what has happened? Recently, a study has been carried into the Indus Valley civilization's remnants, and it has been found that the people of Indus Valley civilization they used to consume the cattle and buffalo meat into the much of the quantity. Now, guys, the vessels which have been found into the Indus Valley civilization sites, into them a study has been conducted which is called as the lipid residue survey. Now, guys, what is the lipid residue survey from the science and tech angle? Let's discuss this. Guys, whenever something is served into a vessel or it is cooked into the vessel absorbs the fats and the oils which are called as the lipids. Now, guys, these lipids they are less prone to the degradation over the time. They are non-soluble into the water. So, guys, even after the thousands of the years, if the vessel will be properly identified, the lipids can be seen and these lipids origin can be traced. And now, when the vessels of the Indus Valley civilization's lipid extraction or lipid residue test has been done, it has been found that these lipids are belonging to the cattle and the buffalo meat. Moreover, guys, many of the bones of the cattle have been found into the Indus Valley civilization. So now it has been ascertained that the consumption of beef was very much common into the people of the Indus Valley civilization. So, guys, that's all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Business Standard and it is important for the GS paper number 2, women and women related issues. Now, guys, before going into this particular article, I would like to quote one particular article that we have already discussed on to the 26th of November. That is the pandemic turning out to be the boon for the women in world's back office. So, guys, world's back office is India, and it was said that by the pandemic, working women in India they have got a kind of a new opportunity. It was said that, guys, usually women they face the problems that they were not able to participate into the labor force because of their marriage, their children, relocation, as they were the primary members of for giving the care to the elderly. Now, as the pandemic had came and the flexibility with respect to the workstation is there, so, guys, even the women who had got married, who had moved to another place, they are also coming back into the workforce, and therefore the pandemic has turned to be a boon for them. Moreover, today, guys, there is also the MNC MNCs and the corporates which had declared that even after the pandemic will be over, the work from home will be going to stay. For example, guys, the TCS provided that they are going up with the 25 by 25 strategy, which means that up to 2025 only 25% of their workforce will be coming to the actual offices, and the things they will be decentralizing via the work from home. So this thing has brought a immense opportunity for the women. Now guys, this particular article, it is completing this particular debate, and it is providing a flip side that actually no such kind of a boon has come and it is just a myth. So let's see that what has been provided into this particular article. So guys, as this article starts, that work from home is no elixir for the women empowerment. The problem which even stays is the bigotry and the prejudices that are against the women. Now guys, it has been said the moment a woman becomes a mother, it has been said that women's they turn less committed when they have the children. However, for the men, it is said that men with children they are more responsible. So this is a kind of a stereotype, and because of these kind of stereotypes, even when the work from home had become a norm, they will not be preferred by the top management. Moreover, guys, it has been said that when we are talking about the work from home, it has also become regularized into the IT kind of jobs, but still large number of women are belonging to the lower middle class or the lower segments, and they are working into the factories such as the garment factories, into the automobile factories, into the MSMEs, and their work from home has not came. So just by calling that the IT women's had got a kind of an opportunity, we cannot hold that this particular true is or is true for all the women, or a particular women empowerment had come. So guys, this could be a flip side of to this particular argument, and I am very hopeful that a question onto this particular line could be asked. So guys, please provide both the viewpoints. So that's it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article is taken from the Mint newspaper, and it is a very good article, directly important for our GS paper number 4, under the topic of the work culture or the organizational culture, organizational ethics. Now guys, see, it has been said that into the times of the pandemic, the organizational culture has reached a kind of an inflection point, and some changes are coming very strongly. See, first of all, when we talk about the work culture and organizational culture, it is the sum total of the values that the employers they are sharing. It is about the interpersonal skills. It is about the trust bonds which are shared into the workplace. And if these values bonds they are positive, we say that an organization is having a positive work culture. And if they are negative, we call it as a negative work culture. Negative work culture is characterized by having the weak loyalties between the employees and employers, just by seeing the amount of the water cooler talks that are taking place. Water cooler talks are the gossips and all these kind of things. Now guys, it has been said that even before the pandemic came, the work culture is seeing a kind of a shift, and the work culture is becoming a weakened. Now guys, one problem into the weakening work culture is the generational challenge that is coming into the today's corporate. Guys, it has been said that into today's tech driven industries, the median age of the employees it is within the 20s, and this particular generation it is having much more kind of inclination towards the individualism. They are devoid of looking onto the collective interest. They have the short attention span as well as the instant gratification, and because of this particular thing, they fail to appreciate the long term perspective or the long term target into one corporate. And therefore what had happened, even the average tenure of the employees into the companies such as the Amazon and Facebook, it is less than 1 year, and it is going to be even more reduced, because now even one more phenomena had came into the corporates, that is the gig workers. And today 30% of the workforce it is given by the gig workers. Gig workers are those who are just onto the contract basis with the company, just for the ad hoc purpose they are giving their services. And as these gig workers they migrate very fastly. So now into the months, the span will be there. And when this is so short span is there, the loyalties, the trust, the faith, the values between the corporate and the employees, or the employees and the employers, will not be built, and therefore the work culture will further be weakened. Moreover, guys, what had happened even before the pandemic, that today's works and today's industries, they are more characterized by the robots and machines. And when the robots take the place for the actual human resource, the employees, they are left without the common air. Like, it means that they are without the colleagues with which they can cool off their problems, with which they can share the moments of joy. And into this particular thing, an alienation comes into the work, and the work culture turns to be negative. Further, guys, what has happened after coming of the pandemic, now the video conference, video talks, video meetings, they have become the norm. And it means that only the official level communications can happen, and the warm and fuzzy connections which earlier used to be there between the employees, they will not be there now. Again, this will be a challenge to the work culture. Now, guys, so much of the challenges have come to the work cultures, which will lead to compromised loyalties, compromised commitments. How the corporates are dealing to this particular thing? So they are dealing it in two particular ways. Number one, swim against the tide. That is just identifying that how this particular phenomena can be undone, and into this particular direction, now the corporates, they are hiring the chief culture officer, and these chief culture officers are all the time just identifying that how the common grounds between the employees, employers, co-workers can be found, and how a bond can be created. Much of the money is being spent onto the cultural workshops, onto the integration of the common value system, on celebrating the different cultures, diversities, and all this particular kind of thing. However, some other corporates are there who had understood that we need to swim with the tide, and the new norms and new values such as the individualism and all these things which are coming, we need to embrace it. And into this particular direction, we can quote one particular phenomena, that is the Netflix culture deck. Now, this Netflix culture deck, it is simply working that okay, if employees don't want to attach, if their economic concerns are more important, we will be giving them that only. Guys, what is the policy of the Netflix? Netflix don't dictate their salaries, rather Netflix say to their own employees that you go and you determine your own worth via the recruitment agencies, or by talking with the people who are employed at the same level into the similar type of companies. And whatever worth these employees quote, the Netflix pay even more higher than that, and Netflix demand the absolute loyalties by the way of their economic model. Now, guys, even the Netflix identify the worth of the employees by the keeper test. What is the keeper test? It means that employees worth can be identified by seeing that whether he is replaceable or irreplaceable. If the work if the employee, if he left the job and much of the impact will not be coming, then the keeper test says that the employee is not that much valuable to the firm, and he is, or the she is, easy to go. So by this particular thing, what Netflix is doing, they had embraced that now the work culture is not about the bonds, emotional ties, and all this thing. It is onto the quid pro quo basis, and this is the second approach. So, guys, this is actually the impact of the new technological changes and the pandemic which has brought into the work culture. So please keep this particular thing into mind with respect to the GS paper number 4, because a question can be asked that how into the wakes of the AI, fourth industrial revolution, and pandemic, the changes are coming into the work culture. Similarly, even the essay can also be asked on such a line. So that's all about this particular article, and now we'll be taking up the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about the idea of the diminishing democracy. Now, first of all, much of the political references have been given here into the article, which we don't need to look. So let's just see the broad overview of this particular article. Now, guys, it has been said that into the present times, there are so much of the individual events that are being taken up, and these individual events will turn or will decide the broader future. And today, the individual events are not good. So some of the individual events into this direction is number one, onto the terms of economy, we can see that Indian economy is one of the worst performing into the world by seeing the minus 23.9% contraction which was there into the quarter number 1. After that, guys, secondly, even the performance of Indian currency has been worst into the world. Secondly, onto the foreign policy front, we can see that India is not having the good connection with the neighbors. It can be seen into the LAC. After that, guys, into the Maldives, the India out policy is going on. Then even into the West Asia, nothing had a way for the India has been achieved. After that, guys, even the domestic policy of India has not been very much representative, though it is a well stated fact that the terror attacks had came down, Naxal attacks had came down, northeast into is into more stabilized position, but the citizens unrest has been onto a kind of a peak, which is characterized by the article number 370's revocation as well as the Citizenship Amendment Act. Now the citizens are asking the question that onto what stand the Indian democracy is still relevant. It has been said that the leadership is trying to bring a kind of a guided democracy rather than the constitutional democracy. After this, guys, today it has been characterized that the electoral gain or the electoral win is the most important thing, and today it has been seen that even the panchayat elections or the state assembly elections, the district council elections, they are turning into the conflict zone, and win at any cost is to be taken up, and it is leading to much more polarization of the society. It is leading to the communal hatredness, and this thing has been very much vocal into the recent Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation elections. So, guys, such a kind of a phenomena is not going in sync with the secularistic notions that has been carried into the Indian constitution. Further, guys, today the love jihad has become a kind of a rhetoric which is being taken up into the right wing politics. And even the states such as the UP had brought the ordinances onto the love jihad, and it is, guys, questioning even the entire secularistic framework of the Indian constitution. Moreover, guys, equally worrying is the treatment which is being given to the prisoners into the jail. And into this direction, we had even taken up an article where we had seen that the Stan Swami who was suffering with the Parkinson's disease, he was not given the sipper for the consumption of the water, and this particular thing has been called as violative of many of the conventions that India had signed. And even, guys, now the clampdown onto the social media by the Kerala present farmers protest, they are also symbolic that there is something wrong going on with the Indian democracy, and such because of such a kind of a thing, India has been characterized as the diminishing democracy. So, guys, please, these are the broader themes, keep it in your mind. That's it. Now we'll be taking up the next article. Now, guys, this particular article, it is again talking about the nutrition, and every 2 3 days such an article is coming. Guys, it has been said that malnutrition is turning to be the biggest obstacle in for the India in reaching the billion plus dreams. In 2017, 1.404 million deaths were there of the children below the age of 5, and 68% were due to the malnutrition. Now, guys, this article is essentially onto the hunger, and when we talk about the hunger, guys, already into our thinking palette, ideas, issues that matters, edition number 1, we have taken up the hunger. And, guys, earlier also I have told you, any question onto the hunger, if it comes, please refer to the first article into the first edition magazine and you can answer. So, guys, that's all about this particular article. Now we'll be taking up the next article. Now, guys, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about the new bill that the France is introducing for curbing the radical Islamism. Now, guys, if I give you a little bit of background, the France has seen recent terrorist activities, and, guys, France says that they are because of the radical Islamism that is prevalent into the Europe and France into the particular. And France had said that we are destined that we will be curbing this radical Islamism. So, guys, originally France had an idea that they will be bringing the anti-separation bill, which will be declaring that the values of republicanism, values of fraternity, and the values of French secularism are the most important values. Now, guys, when we talk about the French secularism, it is different from the Western secularism as well as Indian secularism. Western secularism is based on to the notion that is the state had not to do anything with the religion. So religion is a private affair, and the state activity, it is the public affair. Then, guys, the Indian secularism is again little bit different here. The separation is not there, rather the equal treatment to all the religion is there, and even the state can interfere into the religion if the religion is bringing some kind of instability into the society, or it is not good onto the front of the social fabric. Then guys, when we talk about the French secularism, it is characterized by the strict and most stringent class distinction between the state public life and the private life, and the portrayal of any religious symbol, religious activity into the public life is outrightly not allowed. And because of such a notion, many a times the French ideals have come into the question also. Now guys, France consider it as a part of their own lifestyle, and even into the France there are the blasphemy laws which are designed in such a way that the citizens of France, they can outrightly criticize any religion, religious symbols, religious preachers. And guys, whenever such criticisms are made, then the religious backlashes have been on to the France. The case in point is the recent incident when the some of the people belonging to the Muslim cult religion, they attacked a teacher into the France, Samuel Petty, simply because he had criticized the Prophet Muhammad. Now the teacher, he believed that criticizing the religious leaders, religious preachers, it is the part of their right, but the people belonging to the Islamism don't consider it right. Now France believes that the people belonging to the Islamism, they are wrong because they are moved with the radicalism, and to curb this radicalism, France is bringing the law, and the purpose of this law is to bring the more reform. Now guys, exact details will be outlined, but this is the entire gist of this particular thing. Guys, I hope that you have understood it, and as it will be coming out, we need to see that how the world will be responding. And guys, this is clear that the notion of secularism is undergoing a sea change in all the countries, including the India also. So guys, that's all about this particular article. I hope you have understood it. So that's all for today. Thank you so much.